Darlings, it is Sunday. It is currently raining, and I am outside the Orlando Shakes, where I'm going to watch the Young Company perform Measure for Measure. I don't necessarily know who's a part of this, but I have a feeling that I will recognize some of the performers, and I'm mostly here because one of the lead instructors for Playdate, Monica, is in charge of this group, and I want to see what she's done. Also, I've never seen Measure for Measure, so it'll be fun to have the experience of a new show. So I'm gonna get out of the car, wander through the rain, and I'll let you know how the show goes. It is intermission. Measure for Measure might be rapidly becoming one of my favorite Shakespeare shows, and I didn't know it existed an hour ago. Ooh, the sounds, guys. The sound design on this show is really good. They do a fantastic job of evoking the mood using the sounds they use during scene transitions, and all of the music choices have been phenomenal. There are incredible performers, specifically the girl who plays Isabella, whose name I'm gonna look up right now because I have the program in front of me. Her name is Raina. She's amazing. She does an incredible job of portraying Shakespearean dialogue in a very clear and understandable way, and has, in this show in particular, a ridiculous range of emotions that she needs to convey, and she does a very good job with all of it. They're hitting the humor moments really well, which is always a challenge in Shakespeare. I've also often found that young performers do tragedies because it is easier to be tragic in Shakespearean dialogue than it is to be funny. And this play is a mixture, I would say. It's got some really heavy subjects, but it has a lot of funny, witty dialogue, and they're doing a really good job doing those. And I have had a great time watching it. I also really love the set design. This is what the set looks like. It's fun. It's pretty flat, which makes sense. A lot of Shakespeare is done this way, but they've used it in a really nice way. And the lighting has been fun, and the play of the characters around the space, using the thrust and using the side audiences and that sort of stuff, has been really well directed. So Monica did a great job with that, and I cannot wait for Act 2 to start. The show was amazing. It is incredible what these kids have done in 4 weeks. Also, props to Monica for choosing a very heavy piece and trusting the high schoolers with it. People don't do that nearly enough. And high schoolers can pull off literally anything and shouldn't be underestimated. And they did such a wonderful job with this particular show. I am now gonna go read Measure for Measure because I haven't before, and because this got me very intrigued. And even though it's really heavy and really hard, if you're not familiar with the show, it centers around essentially a man coming into power who decides to cut down on lechery, and as a result sentences to death the brother of a young, soon-to-be sworn nun. And she, in turn, goes to fight for him, and the ruler propositions her basically the same thing that he is sentencing the brother to death for. He's like, nah, I'm gonna do that. And then it just ends with everybody being married to each other. The Duke, the older, more lenient ruler, returns, and he ends by proposing, or rather forcing marriage upon the young woman who was originally going to be a nun. And it's very heavy, and this particular production ended with her openly sobbing. I mean, I asked Monica, it's not in the script, but is a sometimes ending, and I thought it was really good. I do want to call out, aside from Raina, who plays Isabella, who is the young woman and is absolutely phenomenal, James, who was Lucio, was very good with comedic timing and the use of his lines. And as I mentioned earlier, comedic timing in Shakespeare is sometimes very difficult, and I thought he did a very good job. And Carly, who was the provost, I really liked her presentation. And I don't know, Tisha, who is the barker slash troubadour, the street musician. Shout out to her for A, singing and being beautiful, but B, for all of her play in the background. You guys have watched me enough to know that I really appreciate people who can never take focus, but still keep present while in the background. And she did a phenomenal job at that, as did Lily, who played Bum. Both were often on stage, but not on, and did such a good job of maintaining presence, which I appreciated. And overall, I just really enjoyed this. I look forward to seeing some of these young performers other places. I now have their bios, I know where they go to school, and I'm trying to make it a goal for this following year to see more high school productions. So I hope to get out to that. Thank you, Monica, for letting me know about this wonderful production and introducing me to this amazing show and these incredible performers. And Mallards, I'll see you tomorrow.